Hey guys, quick update on the Elog. So remember that when I showed this on the Friday meeting, I had to specify which MongoDB server to use and also which path to the application binaries that Elog needs in order to figure out the names of the aggregates and events. So what I added was an option to configure this so that you don't have to type it every single time. So let's try that. So if I just start by typing elog without any parameters, it complains now. It says that it needs at least one configuration. And the first configuration that you add will always be the default configuration, but we'll have a look at that a little bit later. So let's do the elog configure thing, and as you can see, it starts a wizard, and this wizard asks you for a name, and it also shows you the default values for each option in a slight gray manner, so that you don't have to guess, and you can also just hit enter if the default value is good for you. So I'll just let this be default. It's running on my localhost, that's fine. The database name is event_store, that's fine, but I know that my default project is running on port 27019. This is the policy management project. Then the complete path to the binaries. I cheated, so I already listed the folder name here, and so I'll just copy this path and paste it into here. For you guys on Macs and Linux, this should also work fine. Just copy the path over whatever is there. So once you have done there, now you have configuration default. And you can always use elog configure and then -- list, for example, to see what kind of configurations do I have right now. So let's go ahead and add another configuration, because this was the policy admin project. So I will do an elog configure again, and this time I want the onboarding application to be added to my configuration. So I'll just short name that OB, because we can reference these by name later. So OB is the name, it's still localhost. The database name is slightly different on the onboarding. So if I open up my Robo3T, you will see that the event store that actually contains the event log is, I think, the Dolittle event store _ pricing. And yeah, here we go. So here are all the events. So let's make sure to grab that, to give that name. So I'll just keep that Dolittle event store pricing. So Dolittle event store pricing. So this is the database name that we are looking for. The port is 27017, so I'll accept the default. And then for the folder, now that I'm targeting the onboarding, that's a different project. So I'll go into my pricing here, and then I have to go into core, and then to the bin debug, and then .NET 5 folder. That's where all the project files are. So let's copy this path and give that back to our configuration. And now we have, if I do an elog configure list, I can see that I have both configurations set up. Cool. And also, if you want more information about how to use the configure, you can type -h or --help if you want to be very verbose, and then you can see that you can also delete configurations from this. I'm not going to display that, but sure. So, clear screen, let's just hit elog now. And as I mentioned earlier, when you have multiple configurations, it will display the first one on the list. This is not rocket science, I'm a lazy developer, this is how it is. If I want to change the system that I'm looking at. So right now I can see that it loaded the default configuration, and I can see the details of the Mongo server, the Mongo database, and also which binary path that is running. So this information will always be displayed. And then I get a list of aggregates because I haven't specified any aggregate names. I can also just add a -c, or I can type --help first to see what kind of parameters can I give. And you can see that -c is the configuration name that I want to load. So if I want to look at onboarding, and I type in a -c and then OB, and now I'm looking at all of the aggregates that were found in the onboarding solution. And we can also verify that by looking and seeing that it indeed loaded up the onboarding configuration and it's pointing to the correct project. So out from here, the application is roughly the same. I made a couple of adjustments to the outputs, so it looks a little bit nicer. But the general idea is that if I go back to my default, I just type in Elog, hit enter, and now I see all of the aggregates. So I can see here that that there is actually, let's switch to configuration onboarding. So let's clear the screen, and then Elog configuration onboarding, because that's in English. So now I can see that I have something called customer here. So let me add an aggregate, or -a, to specify that I want to look at the customer aggregate. And from this I can see that I have 7 customers in my database right now, and one of them has 20 events there. So let's have a look at this. So I'll copy the customer ID there, and then I'll just use my history and add a parameter for the ID. And now I will see all of those events for this customer. And right now, this is a future feature that will come, but I will be tagging public events with a tiny star so that we can see which events actually were fired as a public event. But this is not yet fully implemented, so it doesn't work. It's just a text here right now. Right, and then what else is new? Well, I can see name set as event number 12. That looks suspicious. Why would you change your name? So then I can just add EVT number 12, which is the one with the name set, and then I will see the details of that very event. So yeah, there you have it. The code is updated. It's available on GitHub as usual. I'll probably post a link somewhere as well. And now we support multiple configurations, and the entire experience of using this is now much, much better. The only thing you have to remember to do is, if you want to play around with the source codes, make sure you add a path to wherever you have your binary folder for the Elog outputs. That's it. And I can show you, for my part, that looks roughly like this. So my path here, I have just pointed to the binary folder whenever I build Elog in release mode. So there you go. Enjoy. Have a good weekend.